And hello, everybody. Once again, welcome to another episode of Breaking Ponies.
Hello, everyone.
So, we got episodes 3 and 4 of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic and episode 2 of Breaking Bad for you. In episode 3, we're getting some more character development from the ponies. We got, again, Twilight Sparkle is the main character. This one is called the Ticket Bearer, wasn't it?
The Ticket Master.
Ticket Master, yes. So, she receives these 2 tickets from Celestia to go to the Grand Galloping Gala.
Yes.
And she has to decide on which of the other ponies she wants to bring. Now, if Celestia knew that she was there to study friendship, do you ever think this might have been intentional?
I wouldn't put it past Celestia, to be perfectly honest. She does seem like the type to intentionally manipulate people, but...
Because she did that in the first episode, where she says she has to go out and make friends, because she knew that would end up saving the world. That's kind of putting a lot of faith in Twilight, I guess.
Oh, you haven't not seen anything yet. She puts so much faith into Twilight. It's unbelievable over the course of the season, you know? Obviously, everything always works out, but...
But this is like the classic sitcom setup, where one person is going to something and they have tickets, so all their friends are now suddenly trying to get on their good side. And so this is what happens here. We got Rainbow Dash who wants to join so she can see the Wonder Balls, and Applejack because she wants to promote her farm, which is probably the kind of thing I would do. I'd go to try to promote my website.
Well, why not?
And Rarity wants to meet her handsome prince and fall in love. Fluttershy just wants to go to the garden. And of course, Pinkie Pie wants to go there for the party. Obviously.
Well, yes, makes sense.
So, I mean, the thing about this is this almost works as a litmus test for your own personality. What character do you think she should give them to?
Yeah, well, that's true. Because I mean, they all got different reasons. They all got sort of different personalities in that sense. So yeah, I can understand that.
My answer would obviously be Applejack because she actually wants to use it to help other people. All the others are doing it purely for selfish reasons. And Applejack's reasons are selfish, but they're selfish with a slant toward helping people.
Well, yeah, I suppose that's true. Yeah, but she's just capitalism. She wants the money.
But yeah, she wants to help people so she can get better equipment for her friends and everything, fix her grandma's hip.
Yes,
I thought she was going to say to get her a new walker, but no, she actually fixes her hip.
Yes, they have prosthetic limbs.
Prosthetic surgery,
in that world. Yeah, so apparently that's a thing.
Don't they just have spells to repair broken limbs or something?
I think it's just a one-off. Don't expect it to show up again.
Again, the other obvious choice would be she takes Spike because he's kind of her companion, but they immediately have Spike out of the picture because I don't want to go. He's like, I don't want to go to that thing.
Yeah, he doesn't want to go. Or at least he says he doesn't want to go.
But of course at the end he realizes he does want to go. I think it's more he just doesn't want to be alone.
Yeah. Well, I will say that the Grand Galloping Gala thing does show up again in a later episode.
Oh.
And that's not really spoilers. It's not something that they just do as an episode. That you will see it show up again later. So, yeah, they are planning stuff.
It does seem like they're setting things up because as it stands, a lot of these episodes are fairly bottle episodes. They're not really leaning too much into anything. The one thing we do learn in this episode is that apparently Twilight Sparkle now knows how to teleport.
Yeah,
she does that when she's trying to get away from this mob of people trying to do good things for her. It's like, oh no, how horrible.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. I mean, I guess it was good that, you had all these people doing things for her. It's nice in a way, I guess, that they didn't have her taking advantage of that.
Right, which, again, could have been another way to go. That could have also been funny.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, it was a bit of a sitcom-ish type setup for it.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's of course, you can't really think too hard into development of these stories and everything because they are working within, the 22-minute time limit. And in that sense, it is a very well-paced episode. It does, I mean, from what I read, it was actually originally written much shorter.
Was it?
It was only an 11-minute episode.
Really? Well, okay, they padded it out a bit.
Yeah, it did feel a little padded because they kind of went through every single character's action, and you knew, okay, that was that person. Gee, who else is going to appear? Oh, look, it's Rarity. Because you kind of expect what each one's going to happen down the line. It's like, okay, next one she's going to have to encounter somebody else who wants it. And look, it's Fluttershy.
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad thing that they focus on each of the characters because, you've got these main 6 characters. They all need to show up.
You'll have to get their defined personalities, which they do kind of help in this episode. So of
Mm.
course, in the end, she ends up deciding that if she can't take all of them, she's not going to go. So she returns the tickets to Celestia, and Celestia's like right back. Why didn't you say so in the first place? And he gives them 6 tickets, and they all go. So, which
And Spike gets a ticket as well.
yeah, Spike gets his own ticket. So I'm like, I mean, embarrassingly, I didn't even consider that as an option. I guess I'm just not the social pariah type to like all of us can't go. I don't want to go.
Yeah.
In retrospect, it is pretty obvious that that's what they were working up to, but I wasn't even trying to think about how she was going to get out of it. I guess I was just enjoying the episode. I wasn't even
Yeah.
thinking about how is she going to do. How I guess I was thinking who would I take in that situation, or I wasn't thinking how is she going to get out of this. I wasn't like engrossed in trying to figure out what was going on.
You were just enjoying the pretty images and the moving things
Not
and
well, not really the pretty moving things, but yeah, you. I just wasn't even considering what her final solution would be, what her final choice would be in the end. It's just, whatever.
you were just happy to let the story tell you.
Yeah, exactly. I wasn't trying to predict what was going to happen.
Yeah, well, yeah. All in all, it's a good episode. A lot of the episodes in the first season are bottle type episodes
Yeah.
because obviously the first season was before things really sort of took off for the
Yeah,
show.
yeah. The same thing happened with Reboot. Like the first season and a half were just kind of episodic. Nothing really leads into the next one,
Mm,
but then in the later seasons, it really does take off. So
yeah.
I'm guessing like later on they do kind of institute like plot lines that actually kind of get somewhat harrowing or
Well,
no, not necessarily harrowing, but
obviously I'm not going to give too much away, but
right, right.
as the seasons go on, sort of plot lines they don't necessarily become more complicated, and it does keep the episodic structure, but you do see character development. Sort of they advance towards certain things over the course of several episodes, and they. Well, no, I can't really say anymore without going into too much
Right.
spoilers. But yeah, ultimately, things do progress as the series goes on.
Okay, so then after that we go into episode 4, Apple Bucking Day. What was it called?
Applebuck season or something like
Applebuck
that.
season, yeah. And so now suddenly Applejack doesn't need Twilight's help, even though in the previous episode we opened with her helping her in the
Yeah,
orchard.
it's that slight inconsistency that you will get, but yeah, things like that. It's one of those episodes.
Yeah, so Applejack has taken it on herself to harvest all the apples in the orchard, and she just wants to be able to do it on herself, basically because Mac said she can't.
Mm,
So she wants to prove him wrong, and I guess prove to herself that she can, which I guess is a understandable dilemma, like wanting to prove something to yourself as well as to others.
yeah.
And so as she's doing this, there's a tremor which knocks one of the apples down, and that draws her attention to a stampede of cows. And I love the fact that the cows all have Minnesota accents.
Well, if you're gonna have a talking cow, why not?
Yeah, I mean, very, very northern Midwest.
Yeah, well,
Because they're from Minnesota, don't you know?
if you say so. I wouldn't know. I
Yeah.
don't live in America.
I don't know Minnesota either, but I've heard plenty of that. If you've ever seen Fargo, they all have that kind of way of talking.
I have not, but okay.
Okay. So of course, because she's spending so much time working on harvesting these apples, she's getting very tired and she's like blacking out and not really being able to pay attention. But she has also promised a lot of things to the other ponies. She's been promising that she wants to help them. She wants to help them with their projects, but she turns down their help when they offer it to her, which
Mm.
is I really don't know how to feel about that kind because this is actually oddly enough, this is actually a fairly complex episode. And it's the first one to focus on one of the ponies other than Twilight.
True. Well,
So,
they all have their sort of spotlight episodes, obviously.
scene that I love is where she's making muffins with Pinkie Pie, and she of course she misinterprets everything she says. She's like goes with potato chips instead of chocolate chips, soda instead of baking soda, lemon juice instead of flour, and up until this point, it's not inedible.
Wouldn't be pleasant, but
Yeah,
it's not inedible.
I mean, it's more of a drink than anything else, but it's soda and lemon, which isn't necessarily bad. I mean, lemon lime
Well,
soda.
yeah, she did put a lot of lemon in there.
But then, of course, she adds the worms. And
Yeah.
at that point, it just okay. This is go.
So a whole bunch of ponies end up in the hospital.
Yeah, they end up all sick. So they didn't make baked goods; they made baked bads, which I liked that line. I'm big into wordplay, so
Yeah, I guessed. So yeah, and of course things get kind of worse from there.
yeah, she's trying to help Fluttershy count the new bunnies, and she ends up getting them into a stampede.
Yes.
And so that's kind of the impetus for Twilight's like, look, Applejack, we got to talk about this.
Yeah.
We got to talk. You've been doing this, and of course now she's teleporting around everywhere because suddenly she's pro at it.
Well,
She suddenly did it and didn't know how she did it in the previous episode, and now she's pro. I guess she's been practicing between episodes.
yeah, I would imagine so. I mean, there's no like strict timeline for how the episodes are set up. You could almost watch them out of order in the first season, and it wouldn't matter that much. But you do get the feeling that time is moving on, so there is time. So and Twilight's
And they do
constantly
mention that
learning new things.
it's taking place in summer, isn't it? Or in that there was a line where they said something like spring, or no, it's not spring, it's summer.
I think that was in the third episode rather than the fourth one. But yes, the thing is, the seasons get a little mixed up. We'll get into that later.
I
On
mean,
in the
because
in the season.
they do kind of obfuscate even when these take place because they didn't even name the months.
Oh yeah.
Like the gala said to take place on the 23rd of.
Hey, look, something funny. Uh, yes, well, yeah, I guess that's just it's one less thing for them to have to worry about writing up. If you don't want to have to list all these months that
They could have
this.
come up with so many great puns for months, though.
Oh no, don't no, we're not getting into that. Um, it is too late and I am too tired. Okay.
Instead of May, it would be Mayor. I don't know.
Anyway, moving on.
So of course they have her intervention, and it just seems like kind of a rushed reveal. Suddenly she's able to teleport, but yeah, they have their intervention, and they convince them to let them help her harvest everything, and they all work together and they harvest it. But what I thought they were setting up when the Tremors made the apples fall, I thought they set up, hey, I could do something with these cows, and she actually leads the stampede of cows through the orchard to cause them all the apples to fall and then harvest them that way. I thought that's what they were setting up for.
I guess not.
No, I suppose not. But I mean,
That would have been too easy.
yeah, then they would have had to find some other dilemma for her to do it with. I don't know.
Oh yeah, there's always a dilemma. It's the problem of the day.
Not necessarily the same problems that they encounter on Breaking Bad, but this is kids' problems. These are
Yeah, well,
these are
it's
relatable problems. They're character problems. They're stuff that you learn about. It helps you learn about people. So I mean, this actually is kind of a complex issue. Is like how far do you take personal pride before it actually starts affecting others? And that's what it was in this case.
yeah. The idea is that don't take it too far, or others may.
I,
Not only will you get hurt from it, other people might as well.
and personal pride is generally a good quality to have in a person, but if it gets to a certain point, it just gets annoying.
Yes, this was fine lines, and it did actually kind of balance because usually it's just like, oh, don't be prideful, because being prideful is bad for you. But this one is kind of like, it's okay to be a little bit, just don't be a lot.
Yeah, there's a moderation to it. It's almost like something out of Dr. Seuss. I mean, being too serious is just as bad as being too fanciful.
Mm,
And being too prideful is just as bad as having no pride at all.
yeah.
But yeah, I suppose that I like both the episodes. I think I liked the episode 4 more because episode 3 was a bit predictable in where it was going to go.
Yeah, I remember you mentioning that when we were watching it.
Of course, I knew exactly where 4 was going to go as soon as I saw it. Like as soon as I saw the set, I was like, "Oh, okay, I know what's gonna happen." And then when I saw that she was like promising things to other people, I was like, "Yeah, I got it."
Yeah, you won't always be able to guess this stuff, but admittedly, for the most part, probably.
And of course, they're not really trying to do anything unpredictable.
That's true.
They're not trying to institute these twists or anything. They're just trying to tell good stories, which they are. They're decent enough children's stories.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's it for Ponies. Now we can move on to Breaking Bad.
Yep, Breaking Bad. Today's episode, it pretty much continues straight on from the last one, which I think is the theme. That the episodes kind of lead into each other rather, if not smoothly, at least a little more coherently than a singular episodic episodes.
Right.
So it pretty much starts where the last one left off, more or less. They've got 2 dead bodies in their camper van, and they're pretty much dealing with the aftermath of that.
Yeah, because that's enough trouble to deal with. They've cooked once, and now they have all this shit to deal with. So
Yeah, like I said last time, they are not off to a good start. And to be honest, things don't get much better in this episode. It kind of makes you wonder if shit keeps happening like this, they're never actually going to get round to selling it or making any more. Or because they made one batch of meth so far. That's it, one. and they've already got two dead bodies on their hands. So, I mean, there's a lot of plot threads that go over, so I'll try to talk about them all sort of in one go. They've got the two bodies to get rid of, and they're sort of trying to discuss what they want to do with them when it discovers that one of them is still alive, which obviously that's not good news. I mean, having two dead bodies on your hands is bad, but having one dead body and a live guy, that's kind of worse, I think.
Regardless of how out of it he is, yeah, you don't want him wandering off, which
Which is exactly what happens. Which I thought was just hilarious. You've got Walter driving down the road and he just turns the corner and this guy who's supposed to be dead is walking down the road.
it's almost
Which I
like
thought
something out
was,
of The Walking Dead suddenly.
yeah, it was a bit sort of zombie-like. Anyway, Walter manages to catch him again after the guy just face
He just
plants
takes a
into a
header into a
tree.
tree, yeah.
Just it's a tree, poof, poof, and down. So they tie him up in Jesse's basement. I thought Jesse was actually rather clever using the bite lock. That was actually quite smart idea for a drug user such as himself. He actually had a moment of clarity there. So they tie him up and they're trying to decide what to do with the dead body and the living body that they've currently got. And they flip a coin, and Walter gets to deal with the live guy, whilst Jesse has to deal with the dead body. And Walter has an ingenious plan of dissolving it in acid.
And this is the guy that's been like the school teacher the whole time, the nice guy, and his immediate thought is let's dissolve the dead body in acid.
Yeah, I guess his thinking was he really, really, really didn't want to leave any evidence. He didn't just want to bury the body.
Yeah, which would have been something that somebody would do in a panic. So he is thinking this through, but he immediately goes to the most gruesome solution, which
I do think
admittedly
it's
is a
rather,
decent solution.
yeah, it's a very clever solution and shows that he is always thinking. But I think it's really funny that throughout the whole episode, he's trying to work out what to do with this still living guy they've got tied up in Jesse's basement. And he's having real ethical dilemmas of working out how he's going to kill him to the point where he actually feeds him and keeps him alive longer. And at the same time, he's killed his, what is it, cousin, is it? I can't remember who
I
the
think
dead body.
it's his
Yeah,
cousin.
he's killed the guy's cousin and is planning to dissolve his body in acid. It's like, I don't know whether he's extremely callous or he's extremely timid. It's like he's almost developing a split personality in
Yeah,
that
yeah,
sense.
or
He
maybe
flip
he's just kind
flops
of
between them.
disjointed. It hasn't even really hit him just how deep into shit he is right now.
Yeah, pretty much. So anyway, yeah, Walter sort of desperately tries to think of a way to deal with the guy and ultimately can't. Meanwhile, he's told Jesse that he needs to get a special plastic tub in which to pour the acid, but Jesse can't find one big enough. And so he decides to get rid of him in the bathtub, which is such a brilliant move. I mean,
And
even
you knew exactly where this was going.
I knew exactly where it's coming. I mean, the guy's using acid. I know I didn't do that much chemistry. I'm not that far off from Jesse, I don't think. But even I'm smart enough to know that acid tends to dissolve most things. Although, admittedly, I didn't know that the type of acid they were using would also dissolve glass. So that would have got me, to be perfectly honest. But
If it dissolved glass, what did they even hold it in?
I know, I was wondering
Well,
that. But he says
I
it.
know they did have it in plastic
They
jars.
had it in plastic too. He says that that type of acid doesn't dissolve plastics, but it will dissolve everything else. So anyway, Jesse puts the body in the bathtub, pours the acid over, and he thinks he's solved the problem until it comes crashing through the floor. It's like a scene out of Alien, you know?
Yeah, where you just kind of see
Plastic.
it's dripping down. It is very much out of Alien. It kind of drifts down and it still continues burning when it lands on the floor. And then they have this
Yeah.
massive thing of just wood and gore just raining down in the hallway.
Yeah, yeah, it was rather disgusting to look at, to be perfectly honest. Although, frankly, I think I called that it was watermelon. It looked like chunks of watermelon, let's be honest. It probably wasn't, but it looked like chunks of
Watermelon and
watermelon.
sangria. I don't know.
Probably. Who knows? Anyway, whilst that's going on, Walter is also dealing with his normal life, and his wife has already started to become suspicious about his extracurricular activities.
That's a good way to say it.
Well, especially when Jesse actually calls the house pretending to be a salesman, which I thought was, again, quite smart for Jesse.
And he comes up with ideas, but he doesn't quite think them through. I mean, he comes up
No.
with clever ideas, but doesn't quite. Sometimes they're only clever on the surface. It's like he
Mm,
thought of the idea to call him and disguise himself as AT&T, but he didn't think about what exactly he's going to talk about.
yeah, well, I think they were both freaking out at that point. Although I will say Walter does hide it quite well in front of his family for the most part. When after Jesse calls, his wife does what's the number in
Star
America?
69.
Star 69. Yeah, see, in England it's 1471 if you want to find out what the number that just rang you was. That's a tangent. So she finds out that it is Jesse, and Walter is sort of forced to admit. Great location to pick, actually. I think she's having her ultrasound, and they find out that she's pregnant with a girl, and then she decides to confront Walter about it. So he lies, obviously, and for some reason admits that he smokes pot to her and that Jesse is a dealer, which is,
Which
I
is
mean,
kind
Jesse,
of right, kind of wrong.
yeah, well, it is kind of right because he does actually smoke himself a joint in today's episode at one point. He literally just, I guess he just
He
panics and
needed
just
to relax. He needed
he
something.
really needed to calm down. And
And of course,
anyway,
he has trouble even rolling the joint because he's never done it before. So he destroys like 5, 6 papers.
yeah. But that's just yeah, that was
I
just fun.
probably couldn't have done any better. So
Oh, no, I definitely couldn't have. But he admits that to her, and she then goes round to Jesse's house, right when he's moving the dead body, and confronts him about it.
that you
And
could like taste the tension in that scene.
yeah, it's just like, firstly, she is a very middle class pregnant woman going up to a drug dealer. So I don't think she thought that one through very well.
Possibly
Um,
not. Yeah, I mean, if he is just a weed dealer, it's not quite. I mean, weed isn't quite as kill people over as something like meth or crack.
mm.
But yeah,
Yeah, a lot of people are having ideas and not really thinking them through, which I suppose is, they're kind of just going on instinctive reactions. She thinks Walter's in trouble, and she thinks that by talking to the dealer, it'll get rid of him and all that stuff. And of course, Jesse just agrees with it because he wants to
yeah,
get
he
rid of
just wants
her.
her. He just wants her gone. And of course, he didn't even know that he said any of this about it yet. So of course, when she comes up to him and says he told her everything,
Yeah,
Jesse's like
he's freaking
everything.
out. So, and of course, through that, Jesse finds out that Walter's brother-in-law is in the DEA, which also doesn't go down very well. So there's a lot of shit flying around in this episode, and a lot of plot threads are all getting tangled and all sorts of stuff. Yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty much all the important scenes. I mean, I told them kind of out of order,
Yeah,
but as
well,
I said, it jumps around so much, I kind of had to in order to keep my train of thought
yeah, I
going.
mean the plot threads kind of lead into each other fairly easily,
Oh yeah,
but
it's
each
very
different
well
one is
staged.
yeah, but of course each one is like different enough from itself, but they do kind of overlap and everything. Yeah,
Yeah, it's all very well staged. It's very well paced. Acted and written. It's all very good, and I am enjoying it. Yeah, it's curious to see. I was trying to remember actually. Jesse's house. Does he say his mother lives there with him, or does he mother own it? Or
I think his parents own it, but they live somewhere else.
I don't know.
They own
Because
they have multiple properties.
fair enough. I just wondered how they were going to react seeing a giant acid hole in the ceiling, but.
When they get home, that's not going to be good.
Yeah, but yeah, so they both still got a lot of trouble and stuff to deal with. So it'll be interesting to see where it goes next. So yeah, that's pretty much the end for Breaking Bad, and I guess that's pretty much the end of the episode.
So yeah, so this has been Breaking Ponies, and we will see you guys next time for episodes 5 and 6 of My Little Pony and episode 3 of Breaking Bad.
And we're gonna have a hard time keeping those numbers together
Yeah,
after a while.
probably.
Anyway, take care, everyone.
Bye bye.